today's program as the World Affairs Council of Greater Houston hosts a conversation with Lisa Shumate, Council's global leader of influence. I'm Sandia Bayou, Director of Development at the World Affairs Council of Greater Houston, a bipartisan nonprofit organization focused on better understanding of world issues and how they affect our personal lives. Now, more than ever, it is important to stay informed about what is happening, not only in our city, but around the world. The World Affairs Council of Greater Houston brings foreign affairs experts right into your home. And local experts. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sandia. It's so great to be here. The World Affairs Council is an important place for conversation and great speakers for Houston, and so I'm very honored to be with you.
Wonderful. Wanted to check in and see how you are doing, how your family, and how the team of the Houston Public Media is currently doing.
The team is incredible. In times like this, it challenges you to see what you're made of. And our team came together very quickly and decided we wanted to do three things. Protect each other by being safe, so we quickly went to remote working. Number two, protect our core mission, and that is news and education and supporting arts and culture, the symphony broadcast, things like that. And number three, find out ways we can super serve during this time. What are the gaps we can uniquely fill? And we found two. One is we added an extra hour of Houston Matters in the afternoon with a different host, Ernie Manous. Craig Cohen does the morning. And we really decided that one was going to be focused on answering viewer calls. Let the viewer take us where we wanted to go. We'd have the experts on hand, but they could call in and ask questions. Sure. The second one about the kids is that so many children had to learn from home, but maybe weren't equipped with the right Wi-Fi or computers or enough computers. So we adjusted our daytime schedule, PBS, to be able to have Ken Burns teach history, for instance. Wow. And this would align and support with their curriculum.
Well, that was really very efficient, very thoughtful, and really a great way to penetrate homes and really those are in greater need. So I salute you certainly for your creativity. Lisa, if you would allow me to put some highlights perhaps for the viewer's perspective. We know you in different capacities as well, but you've done so much. So if you give me a minute or two, at least to highlight some of your career accomplishments. We know that you are the Associate Vice President at University of Houston System and General Manager of Houston Public Media. You are a national leader in public media, published author and speaker. In your current role, you are responsible for raising funds, managing operations, and strategically positioning the following top-ranked, nationally renowned media assets: TV8 or PBS, the first educational television station, KUHF News, 88.7 NPR, the largest public radio audience in Texas, and 88.7 HD2, a high-definition radio devoted to classical programming, as well as Houston Public Media's web, mobile, and social channels. And I'm not even done with all that. That your focus over the last years has been national involvement in public media. You're a very active member also of these national organizations. PBS Board of Directors, Chair Nominating and Governance, current Chair of Public Television Major Market Groups, American Public Television, Public Media Venture Group. You're a recipient of local, regional, and national awards for community service, leadership, and innovation. And there truly is so much more. I had to look through it and edit it down. I just salute you for all of that you've done and still on the way of doing. You do so much for the community, and really you do it so well. And you make it look easy. Any best practices that you could share? How do you select what you participate in? How do you find time to attend to those obligations?
Well, thank you for that. And you know, the thing is, all I've really ever wanted to do in my career was media. And I kind of have two speeds, high and off. Yeah, I'm kind of all going into it, or I am on the sofa watching Downton Abbey like I did this weekend. So
Me too.
exactly. So it's that kind of thing. And you know, the more you're in your career, and I will say this, I'm at a time where my children are grown. Certainly when my children were younger, you know, I wasn't able to do these things. I didn't want to be so divided and stressed nights or weekends, or have the travel that comes. And a lot of people do with young children, balance it all. That just didn't work for me. My husband also was traveling a lot for his career. So in those years, you know, you do the job as best you can. You assume what leadership roles make sense, maybe more local, and you know that that time will come. So I think that's really important, because I see far too many people putting those pressures on themselves.
Yes.
You do all that now? No, it is a marathon. Spread it out and do it when you really have the wingspan and the mindset to do it. So as far as balance, I think that gets a little easier as you get older. You know yourself and you realize the things you worried about, most of them were not worth worrying about. So you give yourself a little grace, and you are able to really find those things that are additive versus those things that just add work. So that's really it. You just really have to look at what will matter 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years from now. Versus what really is something that maybe somebody else could do, but maybe isn't right for me.
Yeah, that's very nicely said. I have to say that, Lisa, that I think of you, and think many Houstonians will agree that you personally have become a cinnamon too, but cinnamon Houston public media outlets in our area. I mean, it's you're recognized in Houston. I said you're just a face of public media outlets, and I don't think it really asked you what brought your interest, or how did that, you know, come about?
Well, I've loved media again since I was in high school. And you know, this is another interesting thing when people are thinking about their careers. A lot of times we think about fields and positions, but more times than not, we're inspired by people. True. And so there was a local anchor woman in New Orleans, Louisiana, when I was in high school. In fact, she just recently retired. I mean, like in the last few years. Her name is Angela Hill. Uh-huh. And I watched her every night do these incredible stories. She was the first woman on the anchor desk at that station, and just give so much to her community that I thought it would be an extremely fulfilling career. Mm-hmm. And that's really what I did. I followed her footsteps and I never stopped. My love for media has never vanquished. And I think the other important about that is, that's not to say there haven't been ups and downs, you know, derailments. Some paths didn't work out as well as others, but the love for the industry could not be dampened by that. And so I would just pivot. You know, I did start out with on-air roles, and that really didn't work out as well. It didn't propel me like I had hoped, like it had propelled her. Mm-hmm. So then it was just, well, do I say this industry isn't right, or do I see, well, maybe there's something else? And I did. And that's when I went into what eventually led to the business side. So I went from on camera to producing, to then managing people, to then learning about the sales aspect. This was in commercial television, yeah. You know, and it went from there. And I think that flexibility and that seeing the big picture, you know, 5 years from now, will it matter that I'm still in media? Yeah, it was going to matter a lot to me. True. That I'm still in media. So a little bump in the road that this anchor job or whatever didn't work out was just that, temporary, a temporary.
But you if you didn't try it, you would not know, right? If you
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So, do you have ever chance to meet her?
Oh yes. I mean, I worked. So I got to work at that station. I started on the ground floor answering the phones, and she knew from that moment, you know, what a mentor she was to me. And I stayed at that station for like 7 years, and then I moved on from there. And then we moved to Houston, and we stay in touch through Facebook. So yes, she knows what an impact she had on me, for sure.
That's fantastic. That's really fantastic.
Yeah.
Any other points perhaps that you would like to share with our viewers about Houston Public Media, maybe that we have not touched upon yet?
Well, the dangerous thing when you ask me about Houston Public Media, it's hard for me to be a few points because I love it so much and I think it's so important to our community for bringing us all together. But I will highlight these things. We are mission-based. Now, what that means is we think about news, education, and arts and culture from a serving the community. And that is just a different mindset than this is what we do in between on the commercial side, you know, commercials. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just to keep in mind that we, of an hour of every day, we are programming 55 minutes. And, you know, so that's a lot of content.
Sure. And
the need is there. And so that's number one. Number two is that we are 90% viewer funded. 10% of our budget is the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, but that's still money from, you know, individuals who are paying taxes, but that's only 10%. 90% is individuals, companies, and foundations that come forward. They get the service for free, but still feel it's a value to invest in.
True.
So thank you to anyone who has given, is currently given, or will give in the future. You make it all possible. 3 is that we have, in the last 9 years, made a big effort, investment of energy, time, and talent in being on all platforms. Mm-hmm. So you can't just think of us as that little old radio station or that little old TV station. Call us up on Alexa. We're on YouTube TV. We are in your podcasts feed. We can, you know, we are everywhere you want to be. Mobile, social, web, and all these other platforms. And it's exhausting. I mean, it's tech, and everybody that works in technology knows there's always a bug to fix. But it is necessary to reach and expand our audience.
Completely agree. We as a council also have to learn from that, and it's just a way that we offer our programming and also reach new members and existing members. Times have changed and we need to progress and pivot with them. Yeah. I know that you mentioned also education is very important mission to you. It is what we do. Our council has education is really ultimately what we do. We, from, you know, high school students to any Houstonian who would like to learn more, we are there to learn, and you are there also in a very similar sphere. I know that, as I said, you're passionate to continue education as well. You recently shared that you wrote 4 chapters for an online course being published by Wiley next fall to help students realize college for career success. Wonderful. I did not know that.
Yes. So I did a little kind of a passion project, kind of a little book of advice, and that led me to someone who connected me to this author team at Wiley. And, you know, when you talk about generationally speaking, our next generation of leaders, it's about so much more than the textbook learning of a particular subject of being an accountant or an engineer, but it's the soft skills. And the soft skills, as you and I know, are what get you further and further up the line of your career goals. Mm-hmm. So emotional intelligence, communication skills, leadership skills, and one of them that will be near and dear to your heart is intercultural adeptness, you know, or adaptability.
True. Because
we are in a global world, especially in Houston, Texas.
Absolutely. And to continue a little bit of a theme of education, and we have reached out to students who are part of our student world affairs councils. Those are chapters established in various high schools. I think we're close to 40 chapters. We're very grateful for the opportunity that we continue to grow and again reach new audiences. So some of the following questions are submitted for our students.
Excellent.
From your personal travels and visits with foreigners here, what are your 2 or 3 simplest guidelines for interacting, getting to know someone from another country?
It's 2 things: kindness and curiosity. And so let's take that to a real world situation. Let's say you work for a company that's bought a table at a function, and you're seated with people that you don't know. And potentially in this city, you could be seated with people from a global company, a global energy company.
Sure.
I think you just start out very friendly, introducing yourself and being curious about, hi there, tell them a little bit about yourself. I'm Lisa. I was born in New Orleans, but Houston's been my home for 20 years, 30 years. How about you? Where do you call home? And just be curious and open and not like you're interrogating anybody or anything like that, but just genuinely curious. Oh, wonderful. Well, tell me about your company. Open-ended questions and curiosity. There's been real research on this by international companies of which people are most suited for global work. And curiosity is very important, and that flexibility. That idea that you can let go of some of your habits to learn some new habits and new ways of living.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great advice for our students on the future global leaders as well. Next one's very fun. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and perhaps why?
Well, that person would be Cokie Roberts. And if you don't know who Cokie Roberts is, she is a international figure in journalism. Mm-hmm. She worked for NPR for more than 40 years. She was also a contributor to World News Tonight and other ABC programs, as well as NPR, a best-selling author. Her father, she grew up in a political family. Her father was Hale Boggs from Louisiana. He died and really was never found in a helicopter crash or a small plane crash. His wife, Lindy Boggs, went on to run for his seat. But Cokie knows about politics from covering Capitol Hill all those years like nobody. And I have an interest in politics. I think it's interesting and fascinating. And listening to her analysis and what she knew and who she knew over all those years, plus us both being Louisiana girls, I thought in my mind, I've had this dinner with her. In my mind, I've had this dinner where we talk about being from New Orleans, we talk about her growing up, and we talk about this career in our political time. I think it would be fascinating.
Wonderful.
And she just did pass away in September.
Yes, sir.
And we did have a wonderful commemoration from her at a recent PBS industry meeting, a public media industry meeting. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question is kind of lighter on travel. Take you out of Houston. Where is your dream destination for vacation? And what was the most adventurous thing you ever did during your travels?
Well, let me start with the second one first. The most adventurous thing I ever did, and it was pretty recent. It was the summer of 2016, is I walked the Great Wall of China.
Oh.
I went there on I was getting my MBA at the University of Houston. And that was part of our course, was to do an international residency. And so we went to China. Very interesting, right? To think about that today, that we were there. And so that was very adventurous. For me, and I've thought a lot about this regarding destinations, where I am in my life right now is that I'm really interested in making memories. So for me, travel and any kind of place I would go would be, is it a place where we can rent a house and invite family for a week and do something every year that pulls the family together and celebrates, whether it is in the mountains, whether it's at a beach or whatever. And this is a new quest I have because, my son and his wife, have a 4-year-old. They have another one they're expecting. My daughter's in Nashville. And this time has really made me realize how precious time together is.
Agreed.
So that's really my destination, is to create memories with my family in different locations, probably all for now in the US.
Right, but it's I think there's no better way to do that, right? It's all that you create memories and you have things you reminisce about.
Exactly.
If you have nobody to share with, it's almost, what's the point?
And my mother has really set the table for this because she has done this. And in fact, right now, she wants to plan an international trip with just her 4 kids whenever we get over this, but maybe next fall or something, to Italy. So that's not to say international travel won't be there, but it will really be more about creating memories with family.
Absolutely. Yes, Lisa, just want to say again, thank you once more for your time. Thank you for all the great things that you do for Houston, for education, for us as an organization too. And it's such an honor to recognize you as the World Affairs Council's global leader of influence. And as today's conversation really have shown, you truly have a global reach and global thinking, and individuals from global participation coming here and making them comfortable through various outlets that you provide. Again, congratulations. It's our pleasure. Thank you for your time, and continue on the great work.
Thank you to the World Affairs Council for really expanding the minds of Houstonians through your rich education programs of speakers. Thank you.
Thank you much again.